So many people get this question wrong, and yet it's so easy if we've actually taken the time to study the vocabulary associated with quadratics. And this question doesn't have a lot of words. It only has one that really matters to me, factor. Okay, so factor has a lot of meanings in math. But when we're dealing about quadratics, which is very clearly what this is, both by the graph itself and the equation, which has that little, you can barely see it, squared, right? We know that this is a quadratic equation. And what we need to memorize is that when we talk about factors, we're specifically talking about x-intercepts with quadratics. And actually with higher order polynomials like cubes and to the fourth power, so all that other stuff too. The same kind of logic applies. If they say factor, they're really talking about the x-intercept. And so we can just look at this graph and we can see it as two x-intercepts, one at 0, one at 500, and boom, there you go. It's that answer. Now the reason that happens is if we think about what this would be, remember you'd have some sort of equation, right? You'd have, I don't know what the exact equation is if we had, the ax squared plus bx plus c form. But if we wanted to find the x-intercepts of any quadratic, what would we try to do? We would try to factor that quadratic into something that looks like this, right? With the two parentheses. And in this case, we can see it's going to be a 0 and a 500. And that's what they mean here. Now the 0 would kind of simplify. We'd get something that looks more like this, but it's still the same thing. This is giving us the x-intercepts if we set y equal to 0 because that's what an x-intercept is. It's where we cross the x-axis where y is 0. So being able to jump between vocabulary words is extremely important for quadratics because there's so many versions of the equation. The one they actually give us up here isn't even related to what we're being asked. This is the vertex form. You got to be able to recognize that really quickly too. But it's all connected because they're going to give you usually one form and kind of ask for something else. And so you might need to convert between them, which is mathematically sometimes tedious, but it's so much faster once you exactly read the question and know what they want, right? So you can't just be wondering about this question. You have to be able to look at the word factor and snap to the idea of x-intercepts, and then boom, in this case, it's just on the graph. So it makes this question a 2-second question if you've studied your vocab.